I'm going to do some talks, okay, in how do you participate in the Open Incubator Framework. Okay, the Open Incubator Framework is a mechanism for launching ideas into startups using the Foundup methodology. Now, what's a Foundup? Well, a Foundup is a founder like yourself with an idea for some business, you know, an idea for a lean startup. A lean startup is a customer-driven iteration startup that basically, under Eric Ries's definition, is if you focus 100% on your niche customers, you'll never fail. And I agree with him. And as a Foundup, what you're seeking to do is build a prototype, and and the prototype's important because it'll help you either line up investors or secure customers. And the way that you're doing it with a Foundup is using OIF, or the Open Incubator Framework. So there are three things that we're interested in as a Foundup. We're interested in the team, we're interested in the prototype, and we're interested in the customer. We're not interested in anything else. We're not interested in incorporating, because why? We're under the Foundups Incorporation umbrella. We're a C Corp, and we extend it over to you, right? We're not interested in all the accounting and all the other bullshit and all writing investor prospectuses and business plans or any of that. We're not interested, because ultimately we're building minimal viable product, an MVP, as a prototype that we're going to test. And ultimately, unless we can secure paying customers, okay, paying customers that can financially support us, or we can support enough people that will motivate, bring enough people to our attention that will motivate the investment of investors to get us to paying customers, we're not going to do anything else. So the Open Incubator is a number of different structures. It exists as, we're the only corporation in the world that says, hey, come join us, become a project of ours. We will leverage our team, we'll leverage our size, and you can see how big we are if you go to, just go to LinkedIn and under people search, type Foundups. If you type Foundups, plural, you're going to see, right now we have maybe about 6 to 10 Foundups there. We're going to have over 100. We have, a lot of those are our personal prototypes to show you how to set up. And you'll see our team members. We have PhDs, we have doctors, we have senior level guys. We have guys from, basically every imaginable, scale of background we have as part of us. Now, let me talk a little bit about how we're set up. Now, the best way to describe the Open Incubator Framework is the same framework as Wikipedia. Now, framework, I'm not talking about platform, I'm talking about framework. A framework is a structure of organization. So our structure of organization is basically made up of 3 components. It's made up of the advisor. Now, the advisor is no different than the casual editor of a Wikipedia page, right? There's no requirements to be an advisor. Anyone could be an advisor of the Open Incubator Framework, and simply all you do is you identify Foundups that interest you, that you like, what? I like this Foundup. I don't mind giving this Foundup credibility and actually showing to the world that I am part of this Foundup as an advisor. Now, you can advise. Hey, I think you can do this better. Or what about this? Or did you think about this? So ultimately, you're providing advice on your scale. Maybe you're at a party and you could say, what? I'm an advisor of Foundups Corp. Do you know what a Foundup is? You should really look into it, because Michael has got this really interesting idea of a collaborative method of launching ideas into startups, into institutional startups, a collaborative. And he's got it it's happening. He's got people joining, he's got Foundups apart. We don't know yet what's going to happen, but we know that once he hits 1,000 results, the reason why I don't say 1,000 members, because 1,000, my back is killing me after walking Tommy, just carrying Tommy on my shoulders. 1,000 results, because ultimately, Foundups count strategic partners. The second type of person that we have as part of a Foundup is a team member. Now understand, a team member is kind of like an admin on a Wikipedia page, right? That's the level. It's saying I'm active, right? An admin is active. You're going to, help promote the idea of the open incubator. You're going to help, encourage people to be advisors. You're going to maybe promote your Foundup. You maybe promote Foundup, the open incubator. You may be, may say, hey, listen, I want to be on your team as a coder or a marketer or something, whatever. Thing is, with a Foundup, we don't worry about titles. Titles is an institution thing, right? Titles is part of the institution. A Foundup is collaborative. We have advisors and team members. I'm a team member of Foundups Corp. I always say titles are for those looking in, and because I need to present myself to certain investors, types, and everything else, I do use the name CEO and Chairman because Foundups Corp is a C corporation, and I am the Chairman of the board and I am the CEO of the company. But ultimately, that's only for those outsiders looking in and when I'm engaging with them. But for the most part, my level of participation is no different. I'm a team member. We're equal than everyone else. The other thing is, the third part that we have in a Foundup is the partner. And the partner basically is, it could be, there's two types of partners actually. There's what's known as a prime partner and a strategic partner. A prime partner is actually someone who is very keen about this project and will benefit and is willing to actually make an investment in this, not an investment, a contribution, because Foundups don't have investors, we have contributors. Now we use something called the Economic Development Fundraising System that has raised over $1 billion, and we actually will use that to validate. Their system is a system of validation and execution of your Foundup and raise money for you. Now we'll do that for you. I will do that for you. My team will do that for you. And the system is proprietary. Like I said, it's raised over $1 billion. A company that I used to work for developed it and used it, and I've modified it for my own ends. And that company, I don't mind saying who it is. It's National Community Development Services. Great company. Howard Benson, Tom DeFiore. I think they're both amazing guys, mentors of mine, and they're visionaries. And they're, I always say they're, what we used to do is we were like the Marines for fundraising. However, they deal with strategic initiatives. And incidentally, you'll notice that I've positioned Foundups as a strategic initiative seeking to be a successful lean startup. Right? We're an initiative. Right? We're not a startup. We're an initiative to become a startup. Right? So everything we do is about positioning that initiative in, and the three things again of initiative is really the team is important, and the prototype or what it is that you're going to do or be able to do, and finally the partners that are going to be part of that. And let me just use other terms, right? If you think of the Wikipedia page, that's the Foundup. The page is the Foundup, okay? And if you think of it like the moment that someone puts up a Foundup idea, it's like that person who does his first draft of his Wikipedia page. It looks like shit. Incidentally, you probably figured out now why the dog. The dog is the founder who's trying to push out this prototype that everyone thinks is crap. And but he thinks it's a great idea, and that's why he's doing it. He thinks if you notice between the dog's legs is a red hot chili pepper of an idea. So the logo is very important in this definition. So, ultimately, like I said, the page itself is the Foundup, and then the person who initiated the page is the founder, right? He's not necessarily going to be the CEO or anything else. He's just the founder. Like a lot of projects I've started, or Foundups that I've started that I have up there, I finally moved them. I've had these ideas for a long time. I didn't have a framework for launching them. Now that I do, I've put them up there. So e-singularity. So if you like the idea of delivering education to everyone autonomously on this kind of device, and like I said, 3 years ago, this device is going to come down next to nothing. iPhone 3s now are $50. And you could deliver autonomously math, science, and language arts on an iPhone to any child. And it would recognize the individual. It would interact with the person with a voice, simple AI, and deliver content to you without the need of a school, without the need of teachers. That's e-singularity. I've had that idea and that vision since 2001 when I launched Eduit. However, the problem was, I'm just a guy who lives around rice paddies, okay? I don't have any billion-dollar friends or million-dollar friends. Actually, I have one, you know, freaking Dean Minardi. Love the guy. But, you know, most millionaires are tightwads. He's an accountant. And they're very smart with their money. And they're not going to put it with some radical idealist like me, right? Even though if they would, I could show them what I have, you know, what I'm capable of. Unfortunately, I have not found one that will do it. So I've had to create a framework to allow me to do it without their need, and that is the whole point of OIF and the whole point of Foundup, is that I want to create something where I'm not having to beg to people to launch my ideas, that they're not necessary, that I can raise the funds if I can prove that I have the team and the support. You know, incidentally, I mean, when we do federal contracts, all right, when all these companies bid for these billion-dollar contracts for the federal government or the hundreds of million-dollar contracts, they use resume pools, right? They just pull out resumes, stick it in that contract, and send it into the government. And they have some clever contract writer write it up as a proposal to win it. You know, it's you know, they're going after hundreds of $millions without a team in place, and when they win it, they don't have to use that team, right? And it made me think, it's like, why do we run startups in such an asinine way where we expect people to quit their health insurance, quit their life insurance, basically put their family at risk, throw everything at risk, you know, go in this fast, you know, this idea of I sink or swim. It's appalling. You know, it's disgusting. And I think, you know, and to be honest with you, I really think startups are evil. I really do. And I think the people behind it and pushing it, you know, are not good people. Because if you care about people, you wouldn't put them at risk, right? You wouldn't say, well, that's just the way it is. That's the answer. That's what they say. They go, well, that's the way it is. If you're going to do a startup, you got to be willing to sacrifice. However, as they sit in their cushy office, and, you know, consider this, you know, VCs do not invest in ideas. They don't invest in early startups. They don't invest in any of that. Why? Because they know, depending on how you do the math, between 97 to 99% of them fail. Now, I roll in Foundups with startups, and that's why I have a 99%, you know, failure rate. If if you take the U.S. business, whatever, and they have a very succinct, you know, definition, like it has to be launched, has to have a product. I mean, their success, you know, basically is like a 20% or 80 or 90% failure. I don't know. If you want to take kind of the pure startup definition, then you're up at, which is our definition. We're the only guys who have a definition. So if you take our startup definition as a definition, then you're looking at 97% failure. Those aren't kind of the odds that I want to play in, right? I got out of acting because the chances of me as being successful as an actor was dismal, and I knew it. But only until last year did I actually figure out what the success of being an entrepreneur is. And what I did was the moment, and it was, I'll tell you, the way I was talking to Adeo from the Funded about attending, you know, his Founders Institute on the phone. I interviewed, you know, he was actually calling to basically get us to sign up. You know, he's trying to make money off us, right? And find projects and everything else. And I turned around and interviewed him, and he was like, he even said, like, wow, no one's ever asked me these questions. I asked him what his vision was, and I also asked him what's the reality? What's the reality of, you know, success for a startup? What are the numbers? And when he told me the numbers, I was like, it blew my mind. And this guy knows. I mean, he's the Funded. This guy deals with VCs, he deals with angels, he knows the industry like the back of his hand. So, you know, our intention here is to really help people. We're a social venture, okay, or a social enterprise that seeks to basically use capitalism. I want to abuse capitalism, right, to bring good philanthropic visions. And I really, you know, our focus is the idea. Is not the startup. I don't care, you know, if you're incorporated and you've got customers and you're in that field, you're not my client, right? You're not the person I want to help. I want to help the folks like myself who have an idea but don't know where to go with that idea. I want to help the folks who basically feel alone, who feel like that constipated, you know, dog who they feel like they have this great idea, but no one will listen to them, and everyone thinks it's crap, and they can't get the Dave McClures or the Eric Reeses, or I call, you know, the blue-blooded Silicon Valley types, that if any one of them decide to align with your project, it's a go. That's the fact, right? So if any of these blue-blooded folks, I mean, if you get Google, like one guy from an executive from Google to listen to you, good luck, right? Good luck. I mean, I've been there. So, you know, I'm a guy who is pretty much connected to all those blue-blooded fuckers, and these elitists that live in their own little ivory town. And I'm sorry, you are, guys. I mean, if you get offended because I'm telling you what you are, you're bourgeoisie, right? I don't know if I'm saying it right. You know, I'm the working class. I'm the guy who's out here trying to do things without any of your support, without any of your commitment, and you're like, in trying to break into your little elitist crowd, you know, it's not something that, you know, that someone like myself or 99% of the world can do, because you don't want us in your crowd. So the only thing what we need to do is do what the French did in the French Revolution, is to rise up against that crowd. And that's the whole idea of the Foundup. We're rising up against the startup. We want to destroy the startup as the launching point. We want to take back and claim back that space and say, you know what, we don't need you, because we can use a system. We can use the, just think about it. I'm just going to put this out there. You know, in the very near future, we'll have 10,000 results. When someone comes to us as a company, we will be, in a way, like a massive global union. A good way to think of us is a free union, okay? The Open Incubator is like a massive union of entrepreneurs uniting to launch their projects in a fair and equitable way, in which just by aligning your name behind a project, we're going to basically share 1% of our equity that we get if that project launches with you. Now, obviously, the more advisors there are, the shares you're going to get, right? But who cares? At least you get something. If that project launches, guess what? When we go and we know we've got institutional investors and you happen to be an advisor, we'll say, hey, look, guys, we got 50 million shares or, you know, available. Now, we're about to sign a deal with folks that are going to buy it, right? Do you want any of these? You've got 30 days or 15 days. We're at the sign next week. Thanks for being an advisor. If you want any, here they are. Here's your chance. We can only take 30 per state in America. We can take as many Chinese and many as Indians and many, but in Florida we can only have 35. I'm sorry, because that's the SEC. If you have a problem with that, go complain with the SEC. But if you want to be one of 35 people in Florida putting in some money in, and whether it's $100 or $1,000, we're going to give you those shares at a significant discount than what we're currently going to be presenting them to the investor. Why? Because it's because of your resume, because of your backing, because of your support, because of, you know, you maybe talking to someone about Foundups that helped us launch. There's value, okay? There's value. They say, well, you know, people don't get it. They go, well, how can you say that there's value in just putting my name? There's some sort of scam. No, there isn't a scam. Putting your name associated with us is giving us credibility. It's crowdsourcing what we're doing amongst your folks. Because the moment you assign advisor at Foundups, guess what? Every one of the persons that you're connected with gets a little notification. So-and-so has a new title. He's an advisor at Foundups. Now, one or two of them, 1%, maybe 5%, 10%, I don't know. I don't care. We'll go and say, what's Foundups, right? Because people by nature are always looking to get ahead, right? Because unfortunately we live in a society where it's all about dog eat dog, and whatever the Smiths are doing, you want to do, right? Unless you're me, right? We don't care about the Smiths. We don't care about the startups, right? So ultimately they're going to look at you and they go, oh, interesting, and they may want to follow up. They might want to copy you. People follow. You know, people are sheep for the most part, unfortunately, and I'm looking for those early adapters. And the good thing is that you can't steal what I have. It's a blue ocean. We own Foundup. If you want part of Foundup, we'll license it to you. And also, ultimately, as we grow, I'm looking for associates. Associates are independent contractors that I will teach the Open Incubator framework to. They become team members, and that a team member may be an associate, a team member may be anything, right? So I'm really excited, and you should be too, because you know, we launched on April 25th, so that's going to be from now on the Foundup birthday, April 25th. Coincidentally, it's the day a friend of mine died. He died actually on the 24th, which is Shakespeare's birthday, so 24th, 25th. So Ken Atkinson, you know, he's a father of, he's my age, he left two kids, a little older than my son, and between my son and younger than my son, two children, and amazing guy. So, you know, I feel fitting that when he passed, this was born, and I hope that, I don't know, you know, cancer is such a horrible, I probably will, if I ever make a lot of money, you know, I think fighting cancer is going to be one of my things that I'm going to really focus on. Living in big houses, having boats, all that bullshit, all that capitalist crap that everyone, you know, all these toys, the idea that who dies with the most toys wins. No, who dies with the most toys basically destroys the earth. That's my opinion. Who dies with the most toys basically is causing pain and hardship to others. And if you're one of those people, fine. I mean, but you're unactualized, you don't understand, you don't see, and you're basically living in your ego. And that's a shame, because the world, we need to start thinking of giving back to the world in every way. From stop raping the sea to, you know, to raping communities and lands and taking advantage of folks, you know. And all you need to do, if you got an iFlix account, is just start watching the documentaries. Watch a documentary a day on iFlix, you know, and really learn about, you know, and get a different perspective than what you're getting from Fox News or from other things, because, you know, the white noise media is just brainwashing you, and they don't have your interest at stake. You know, it's funny. I mean, I feel bad for the people that were hit with a tornado. 200 people died. You know, 10,000 people died in Japan, and now that becomes big white noise. Yeah, and that becomes the focus. And the 150,000 people that are still homeless in Japan, there's not been anything being done with them. The Japanese government's dealing with them. I'm going to hope to hopefully, you know, be able to assist them, but with our Help Japan Co. So anyway, I'm rambling here, and I hope you are at least watching this when you're bored, or have this playing whilst you're driving or something where you can just listen. But ultimately, you know, we can do tremendous good as a real social venture. And most of these folks are doing social enterprise and social ventures are capitalists who are using the term and the word to basically get filthy rich. So to all you guys who call yourself a social enterprise, it's to support philanthropic needs. So if you're putting the money in your pocket and making you know, drive around in SUVs that are just eating up the environment, and, you know, buying all those toys, then shame on you, because that's not what a social venture is about. A social venture is about basically being helping to become a sustainable nonprofit, because nonprofits are unsustainable. And it's about giving back to the community and helping those and providing support, you know, to those that need it. Not to, you know, give you some luxurious lifestyle. And a social venture should be, you know, 100% transparent. It should be employee owned, with the idea that the employees, the CEO has to get the vote of support from the employees every 5 or 10 years, just like the, you know, election. If they don't get the vote of support, then the person needs to be replaced, period. If the person is abusing, if they feel, you know, I think that the salary of the executives and CEOs also need to be, you know, approved by the people. Say, I wanted this salary, okay, need approved. And, you know, talk about checks and balances. So, you know, once you have transparency and people know what you're making and where the money is, then you're going to have, like, bakers getting paid $50 an hour, which you do have in employee-owned companies, right? Instead of just $10 an hour or whatever. So there's so much good to be done, and I hope, you know, this video here, even though it's kind of going long, freaking 24 minutes. Well, you could blame YouTube because YouTube now lets me put up longer videos.